morning, class. This is Papa Llama. Today we're going to talk about Google and its new financial platform. So hold on to your hats. Here we go. So I woke up this morning and this is what I find on my computer, that Google has changed up its financial information that it gives out. Its financial features. Google Finance, for those of you who really don't know about it, was a great online information site that would give you a lot of raw data about a particular stock, as well as real-time quotes, a lot of good analysis, a lot of good news stories to click on, in a very simple and easy to use platform. I loved it, even though I have accounts with Fidelity and Vanguard and Ally and a lot of other groups. I've always come back and used the Google financial platform. It was easy, it was integrated into my daily routine where I would check my email, check the financials, read stories off it, and continue on with my day. I didn't have to log into all those other accounts, like ally.com, to figure out what was going on with my portfolio. So anyways, I wake up this morning and this is the news that I was presented with. Now honestly, I haven't been paying attention to it, and so it came to me as a little bit of a surprise, although I think they've been talking about this since about September or so forth. But honestly, first time that I heard about it. So basically, Google search now features an all-in-one financial tab. Google launches new financial features in search and drops the portfolio feature. Google search financial revamp, kills off portfolio, adds hot stocks, and the follow button. Most referenced. Google Finance, stock market quotes, news, currency conversions, and more. Stay on top of financial information on Google, from the Google blog. Now, this is really important. We'll come back to it, but let me read it again. It says stay on top of financial information on Google. It's going to be very important to understand what's really going on, at least what I think is really going on with this whole changeover. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and click over because something really interesting happened this morning. On my desktop at home, I was able to access the old Google platform. On my laptop, it's hooked up to the same network. For some reason, I'm getting the new Google platform. So I'll use this video to look at the old platform, what I liked, show the features that I used on a regular basis on the old platform, but have basically disappeared on the new platform. So we'll review some of that stuff, and then I want to explain why I think this is probably the most dangerous thing that Google has done to people, especially people who are trying to get into the financial markets and to better understand how their investments are doing or how they're. Okay, so here we are on the Google blog. This is where they made the big announcement. And I read the article and found some really interesting stuff that I'd like to point off. This was an article that was published just yesterday on November 28th, 2017. That basically is the announcement, the birth announcement of their new information platform. What's interesting here is that they said they're going to be creating a new platform, but here's a sentence that we should look at. That's why we're introducing an expanded finance experience directly inside Google search on desktop and the mobile web. Now what's interesting is that they use this term Google search. So it's no longer an independent standalone type of tool, but Google search, from my understanding, is basically an information provider. It doesn't really have tools that people can use. It just kind of serves up information that's created by other people. So it'll serve up news reports from other news agencies, for example. It'll probably have real-time stock quotes that it gets from directly from the markets themselves. But it doesn't allow you to create new information or new ideas by using the tools that they used to have. And I'll pop up the old Google platform and show you some of the tools that we no longer have access to. But let's keep reading here for a moment. Here's the other thing that I thought was a little bit scarier. It says, now under a new search navigation tab called Finance, you'll have easier access to financial information. Okay, that's good. Based on your interests. Based on your interests. So, I know there's some some privacy people out there that's saying, Google is trying to predict what our interests are. As a investor, I have lots of interests. In fact, I want to know about other people's interests. I want to know what's the next best thing. I want to know stuff that I don't know about in order to make better investing ideas. I don't need to read regurgitated news articles and so forth based on my past interests, because just like they say in the stock market, my past interests don't predict my future interests. Any case, keep that in mind, that they're going to be using a lot of this, whatever you search on. Those are the types of information that it's going to serve up. Again, it's not going to help the type of investors who like raw data, who like making up their own minds, who like reading lots of independent reports, good or bad, and so forth. So basically, I think what's going to happen here, unfortunately, and this can be extremely dangerous to society as a whole, is that they're going to create this huge echo chamber where Google search is just going to be reserving a lot of information from other news agencies. And, I can imagine everybody saying, oh, look how hot the stock is. Look how hot the stock is. Those are the reports that you're only going to be exposed to. People are going to buy into it. And then once they realize like how bad some of these are, it's going to be too late. It's going to crash, and they're going to lose a lot of money. Yeah, echo chambers, bubble think, group think, all that type of stuff is really bad. As an investor, you should stay away from it. And that's what I'm going to have to say. I'm going to have to recommend to stay away from this new Google Finance platform. It's not going to help you think about your stocks and your money the way you need to be thinking about it. All right. So then they say there's a few more features. This is what it's going to look like. This is an interesting picture here because, as I mentioned earlier, my desktop, I get the old Google platform, and my laptop, I'm getting my new Google platform. So I don't know if they're rolling it out just for mobile devices, or if they consider my laptop a mobile device or whatnot. But I've been able to play around with the new Google platform, and it's not that great, honestly. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to bring up is this sentence here. It says, as part of this revamped experience, we're retiring a few features, just a few, not very many, of the original Google Finance, including the portfolio, the ability to download your portfolio and historical tables. No big deal, right? Well, the truth is they're killing off a lot of good tools, a lot of tools that investors need in order to make well-educated decision as to where to put their money in. Okay, and I'm going to click over to the old Google platform and show you some of the tools that I see on the old Google platform that I don't see on the new Google platform. So one last thing that I noticed in the Google blog about the Google financial platform, the switch from the new from the old platform to the new platform, is this product manager, Hey Mian Lee. Probably mispronouncing her name, sorry about that, but she's listed here as the project manager. I'm not sure how much leeway project managers have at Google in dictating, what things to kill and what things to keep, and how things are actually presented. But I did a quick LinkedIn search, and I found a Hey Mian Lee, who is product manager at Google Korea, and she went to University of California in Irvine, very good school. She's been working at Google for about 10 years now. That's impressive. University of California, she stopped in her PhD program. Interesting. But here's something. Let's see, skills, Python, a lot of C, Java, C++, a lot of computing stuff, distributed systems, project management. Okay, that stuff is all interesting. She knows Korean and English. Okay, so here's the thing. She seems like a really smart lady working at Google, who's made it up to the ranks of manager. What's missing in her background. She does not have an MBA. She doesn't have a business background. She doesn't have an investing background. She's not a certified financial planner. She basically has no subject matter expertise in investing. And I don't know if she's the one who made the decisions to switch from the old platform to the new platform, an old platform that had lots of good tools for investors to help analyze the market, to a new platform that just basically regurgitates old news stories from other news agencies. But this is kind of I think a very dangerous thing for Google to be doing, is letting computer scientists make decisions about particular products that they have no background in. Anyways, that's just a side thought. Let me go ahead now and switch over to the old platform to look at what are the actual tools that were killed off, and then compared to the new platform. Okay, so here's what we're missing out on. I pulled up the Ford Motor Company. This is just a demonstration on the old Google platform. This is whenever I would open up and click on the financial tab, this is what would pop up. As you can see, there's a lot of information here. I would usually brief through this in a few minutes, especially in the middle of the day when there's new reported stock prices or new news bits or whatnot. But here are the things that were on the old platform that I can't see on the new platform. Okay, so beginning up here, real quick, this is the information that a lot of people get to first. It's just, what is the price right now? Okay, now I wake up early. I start reading about markets at 5 a.m. every morning. I kind of like this little feature that they had here, the pre-market information, and it would just give me an indication of what happened after the bell closed the market yesterday, and what happened 30 minutes prior to the bell opening the next day. Good little piece of information. Used it a lot. I can't find it on the new platform. It doesn't seem to have it. These are the other quick pieces of information that I would use a ton of times, depending on the type of trades that I do. For example, I have a chunk of shares that are dividend type of shares, and so here I could quickly look at what is the dividend and what is the yield. They gave up little pop-up things, little pop-up bubbles that tell you the definitions of all these things that they have. So even for beginners, it was a fairly easy tool to use and so forth. What I really also liked, going down here to the graph, is that you could get a quick overview of what's happening. This is a year-to-date graph from January of 2017 to end of November. And just by looking at this really quickly, you can tell, okay, how are the dividends doing? These little bubbles that they have here will give you just quick information as to what's going on with the stocks. What are the dividends? They also have, if the stock split or merged, a little bubble will come up and say there was a 2-to-1 split or 1-4. And that's, again, useful information just to look at and to anticipate. Now, some of my investments deal with monthly dividend payments, and I have a REIT also that is also a monthly payout, that they would report the dividends here. And what you could do is you could start looking at patterns. There are some months that paid out more dividends versus other months that paid out less. So if you wanted to come in and out of the market, you could get a quick overview by looking at just these little tags here. I'm not sure if they did it now, but there used to be a way where these little news items, the A's, B's, and C's, will come out here on the date that the news item came out on. Maybe I have to expand this a little bit more. I don't see it. That's okay, but there's a way to get these news items. To me, that kind of cluttered up the graph. It really wasn't useful. I'd rather just look real quick here. I would see the date, order by date, just to see what's the new information and so forth. But the truth is, a lot of this information is just regurgitated from a lot of other sites that I visit to read up on, sites that have more pertinent information. So this was just a quick, good scan. Now here's what we're really going to be missing out on. These three little buttons, well, these two buttons down here. The first one is the settings, okay? Here it is. I didn't set the news flag. You see, so you set the news flag and you can see all the news articles that came out about Ford Motor Company's financials. Like I said, I turned that off a long time ago just because it's too cluttered the graph too much. All right, back to settings. Information that I really enjoyed: dividend splits and volume, to look at the volatility of the market, if the stock's going crazy or not. You can also set up default zooms. This would vary depending on what I felt like. A lot of the times I looked at 1 day versus 5 days something, but I usually use these buttons up there. Not a big deal. Now here's something that we're going to be missing. These are the tools, the important tools that all beginning investors need to know about, and they need to feel comfortable in using and so forth. Unfortunately, Google is taking them away from us. So these are the technicals. You know, everybody should know what a simple moving average is. Everybody should be able to calculate it. But what Google's platform, the old Google platform, did was it allowed us to quickly chart it without thinking about it too much. We were able to put it in there, type in a period, how long you wanted it to calculate it. In my case, I used 20. Sometimes I used 120, depending on what kind of analysis I was doing at the time. We're no longer going to have this. We're not going to exponential moving averages. The bias ratios. Where's the other one that I really liked? Oh yeah, here. Moving average convergence and divergence. That's these two lines down here. It's a really good, just quick overview as to what's going on in the trends for buying and selling the stocks here. All that information is going to be gone. Now, something else that I used a lot was this here. These were the events that were going to be occurring for that particular company. These are usually future events, but they also had some of the past events. But what I liked about it was that we were able to add these events into my calendar. So whenever there was an earnings release or whenever there was dividends are paid out, you could just go ahead, go in there, click it, and it would just mark your calendar. So a month or two from now, I know that on this and this date, this report was coming out. It's really good if you're a dividend investor, or if you have some kind of dividend capture strategy. You could start loading up your calendar with reminders as to when the X date and the reporting date and so forth are going to be coming up, and you could be notified on your phone, on the platform here and so forth. From what I can tell, the new Google Financial Platform does not have that anymore. A little bit more information down here. The key stats and ratios. I've always used this. This is just kind of a quick look at what other companies also screened that was similar to Ford Motor Company. Let's see what they came up with. There you go. So this was just a way to discover new stocks, things I wasn't thinking about, stuff that I don't know too much about. For example, China Mobile Ltd, ADR. I have no clue what they are. If I was interested in getting some automotive stock, I would probably click on this and learn a little bit more about it. Just because, you know, having a good balanced portfolio is definitely something everybody should have. Okay, so these are some of the features that we're going to be missing out on. I've just got for some reason on my laptop, I'm able to see the new Google platform, but on my desktop, I'm seeing the old Google platform. So don't know when that's going to change. I just wanted to make this quick video to capture all the good information that we're really losing out on. So this changeover that Google has for the financial platform is actually going to be hurting people who are looking for information, who truly like to digest raw information and so forth. Basically, many of Google's financial features and important tools that independent investors used on a daily basis was killed off. And now the title Google Finance, well, it was just integrated into their search platform. And this search platform is basically evolved into a portal to serve aggregated financial news and basic stock prices from other news agencies and markets. So, unfortunately, Google Finance is no longer a tool for investors, but in my opinion, it's a disorganized news site that will start collecting data on its users and their investing styles, and who knows how that will be used in the future. So basically, Google Financial just took a bunch of useful investor tools and evolved it into a potentially dangerous financial information bubble machine that's basically an echo chamber. Now, there's three main reasons why having an echo chamber can be very bad. First, of course, is like any echo chamber, this one basically reinforces a person's own present world view of stocks and financial markets. And this is bad because it doesn't allow them to grow as an investor. It doesn't allow them to be exposed to new types of information or new types of investment opportunities. The second reason why this is bad is that Google Financial took away the tools that investors needed to independently verify the news stories. I couldn't tell you how many times I received a news article either in my email or online, and because it was written by the company that was offering the stocks, everything sounded rosy. Of course, when I went in using all the Google tools and other tools that were available to me, I realized that they weren't very good investments. Finally, I think that Google Financial will miserably fail in allowing people to really penetrate other news and interesting investment ideas. I think what's going to eventually happen is the groupthink is going to settle in. And when you get, 10 news stories about how great a particular company is or how great that they're doing, people might buy into that company, buy into that news without checking independently whether or not it's true or not. This, I think, would become a financial disaster for certain investors. So you're probably asking, what can we do about this? I don't think there's a whole lot we can do about it. We can complain to Google and ask them to put the tools back in the toolbox. I don't think they will do it because Google does what Google wants to do. So as a personal investor, here's an option you probably can do is go to Yahoo Finance. I haven't been on this site in about 7 or 8 years, only because once I started using Google and some other platforms, I never really came back to Yahoo Financials until this morning. And sure enough, they do have a lot of the tools that we were talking about. I still have to investigate it a while because it does look a little bit different from when I last used it. But it looks like, let's see here, they just have some basic market indicators. Okay, so this is the Yahoo Finance page. As you can see, that has its own little tabs. It has a summary tab, which consists of all the current statistics that you need for the day. What's opening price, the bid ask, the 52-week range, today's range, a lot of quick information good just for checking out. Over here on the side, what you'll notice is that they have some earning reports. These are the actual earnings versus the estimated or the reported earnings. I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more and see where they get those estimates from. Are they from some of the rating companies, or is that from a previous report or whatnot? And the financials, if you click on this, I'm going to show you a treasure trove of really good information. These are the company's income statements. I'll spend a few videos diving into some of these income statements and telling you how to really read the information, because like I said, this is truly a treasure trove of information for the health of the company, and hopefully it'll educate you on how to determine if you're going to make a healthy investment in that company or not. But here, this is what I really wanted to show you. When you go to Yahoo Finance and under their little chart button here, not summary, chart. It's acting a little wonky. There we go. Nope. Yeah, there we go. Alright. This has everything that you need that Google basically got rid of. I was actually pleasantly surprised to see all the indicators that they have here. This is a whole lot of them. some that I haven't seen or used in many years. But honestly, that's a whole lot more than what Google provided. So I'm happy to see that. I'll probably play around with that a little bit more. You can compare the different types of stocks. So it looks like you have a good amount of information. Here are your dividend tags. I'm pretty sure you'll see split tags, and don't see the news. No, one thing that I don't see is where the where you can add information to your calendar. That might be a feature that they don't have. I'll look into it a little bit more. But you know, overall, this is a pretty good, nifty tool. So, in any case, thank you for watching this video. This is the first video I have ever done. I've been in the financial world for many years, over 20 some years, and even before that, you know, I was picking stocks when I was 19. So this is an area that I really love talking about, but you know, unfortunately what I've been seeing out on the internet, there's a lot of people giving really bad advice out there, and so that's why I started my channel, is to just try to bring logic back into investments and making money for yourselves and for your family, making sure that you establish a stable life.